Hey, what's up guys? So today I'm going to be covering choke points, and specifically choke points in combo decks, right? Like how to properly hand trap your opponent in order to, stop them in their tracks. A lot of this is going to come from knowing your opponent's deck really well as knowing your own deck really well, and that helps you like properly hand trap your opponent. But before we jump right into the video, I just want to say a huge shout out to the sponsors, Imperium Duelists. Definitely go check them out if you are interested in purchasing mats, deck boxes, or any other goods. I have some nice fresh sleeves from them, and they recently sent me this awesome deck box, this nice purple one. So definitely consider getting your hands on these. Pack 10 at your checkout to get 10% off. Also, my team Luxury Gaming is hosting a 3v3 tournament in the next couple of weeks, so if you are interested in signing up, definitely go check out that link in the description box below to get access to the tournament page and sign up. I'm really excited to be playing in this, and I can't wait to see you guys in there. Alright, so today we're going to be talking about the choke points in the Dragon Link combo. So assuming that you have like 4 of the best hand traps, I guess, in the game right now. Maybe not 4, but like some of the most generic hand traps, or some of the best hand traps in the game right now, like are these 4 that you see here. We have the Ash, Imperm, Gamma, and Nibiru. And then what I'm going to try to showcase you guys is like how to properly hand trap your opponent and how do they play out of it, right? So it's going to be a combination in which how to properly hand trap your opponent to stop them in their tracks, and what are some cards that can let them get out and play out of that hand trap. So if we start off with a Black Metal Dragon, we're going to link it off, and we're going to make Striker Dragon. We're going to chain block that, Chain Link 1, Chain Link 2. We're going to get the Boost Sector launch to our hand, and then we're going to get the RMD to our hand. So theoretically, the 1-card combo is going to look something like this. We're going to banish the Striker Dragon, summon RMD, and we're going to reborn this card back. And then we're going to go for our first choke point in the Dragon Link deck, which is Romulus. So Romulus here is going to activate its effect, and typically what most Dragon Link players do is they actually get the Phalanx. And so what they're trying to get is they're trying to get this card so that they can make a tuner. And this is the first choke point for sure, but it's also a point where you're almost required to hand trap this, because if not, they're gonna make Herald really early, especially if they can make an extender. So what I typically would like to do is I would always try to gamma the first Romulus, but the problem is if you, let's say, gamma this, so let's say we gamma them, if we gamma this and then this doesn't resolve, you now have, the opponent now has to like think of a couple ways to like play through this, right? So first off, there's a couple ways. If they start off with Black Metal Dragon, if they have a Chaos Space, they can try to make 2 dragons and play that way. But the Romulus is one of the best choke points because it stops them from making Needle Fiber. However, if they were to hard draw a Rocket Tracer plus any extender, but that requires 2 extender, they can make Needle Fiber and then play out of this position. The other way they play out of this position is that if they actually somehow hard draw a Brotar, by gamming the Romulus, you can actually trigger the Brotar's effect to special from your hand, and then use this effect to pitch a card, and then search like a Black Clap Serpent, or a Black Clap Serpent, and then actually just you have to have a light in the graveyard, but then banish that and then play from there. Or you can actually search a Rocket Chaser. You would have searched Boost Sector already. This would have searched you a Rocket Chaser. And then you would just activate this effect, and then from this position you would just essentially make Fiber and then continue playing. But they need very specific extenders to keep playing, so that's why like it's one of the best choke points. Now let's say potentially you don't hand trap them there. Let's say you potentially hold your gamma. So you're not gonna gamma them there, but you're gonna gamma them, and you're gonna do something very risky. You're actually gonna wait for them to make Fiber. What I mean by this is a lot of decks are playing the Smoke Grenade variant, right? So it hard loses to Nibiru, but they're still playing it, which summons the Phalanx. And then from this position, what they like to typically do is they go Link Cross for 2 tokens. They're gonna turn these 2 into a Metal Marcher. You're gonna bring back the Phalanx, and then from this position, you actually use these 2 to make Fiber. And then you're going to summon like a Vylon Cube. And then but the problem with this play is if you get gammed on the Fiber here, which you will have to, they opted not to make Herald early. And that's going to be very costly for them. And a lot of Dragon players have been doing that, so that's something to definitely like keep out and watch out for. That if Gamma is your only hand trap, then you could potentially save it for the Fiber Axe. But at the same time, if they have any other extender, they can still play out of this like Fiber being Gamma. And I think most of the time it's better to have Romulus Gamma. But if you do hold the Gamma on the Fiber, then they lose 2 extra deck resources, right? Like the way the Dragon Link plays out of like I guess bait out interruption is through their extra deck, which is why it's so good, right? You have Fiber, you have Romulus, but at the same time they also have a bunch of extenders in the hand to play out of it. So we're gonna go back to the same position before and have this Romulus, I think, pretty much Gamma'd. The other thing is, if you do Ash this card, basically any extender in the form of a Boost Sector, Summoning Tracer, or a Quick Launch will let them play out of that, or aka any tuner extender. That's why tuner extenders are really, really important, because tuner extenders lets you get access to Fiber. If you don't have a tuner extender, then you can just do regular Guard Dragon plays with the LP and the Pisty, and try to like end on the board that way. So it's just really multiple ways. It's just that Fiber is like a full combo, and that's why like Fiber is really, really important. But let's say like if you have Imperm or Ash, you definitely can just Imperm this here, but you'll find out that, like, for example, if you were to Imperm your opponent here, it's actually not as strong on the Romulus, because, like, let's say they're like, okay, sure, they're gonna activate Romulus effect, they're gonna, let's say, make, they're gonna make a Link Cross, then they can make 2 tokens, and then from here they can either activate Boost Sector, as I mentioned before, to summon the Tracer. And then from here, they're going to use both of them to turn into the Fiber. And then they're going to summon, if they play that engine, the Red Rose engine. So this is actually, oh, you would only summon 1 Link Cross, but you would play the Red Rose engine. You can then use this and this into a Herald. And then use Red Rose effect to summon White Rose Dragon. So this is pretty neat, because you can now essentially at this point in time like you have a red, you have a white, and you can now try to like make Guard Dragon plays if you have any other extender on top of all of this. So this is actually pretty cool. You set up a Herald, and now like in this essence you can like still play, which is like really, really important, right? At the end of the day, like you want to be able to make sure that you can play through as much disruption as possible. So that's like pretty much it. Like you see now, like this can go into like an LP, and then like you can see right here that it's gonna be pretty much like just full combo if they have another extender like through this. And so I guess that's like one of the things that I'm trying to tell you guys. Like it's basically like the correct point is definitely Romulus, but if they have certain cards, they can play out of it. But for example, let's say you have like cards like Chaos Space. They can't really make Herald first without activating Chaos Space right off the bat, because Herald actually stops their Chaos Space from activating. And that's something you can tell like with good Dragon Link players and bad Dragon Link players, that like they try to use their Chaos Space before Herald, and like that's how they like essentially like get follow-up. Yeah, so that's also another thing to keep in mind. I mean, they had the thing with this deck is that because they have 3 Quick Launch, which is basically like a tuner always, they have like so many ways to like play through interruption. It's actually like nuts. But I think this should be like fine in terms of like understanding how to like play through like the disruption. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much it in terms of like what hand traps. The only thing about Nibiru to keep in mind is so Nibiru is an interesting place against this deck, because after they make Romulus, they're gonna go and make 2. They're gonna get Phalanx, and then Phalanx is gonna summon itself right here. So if you only have a Nibiru, this is gonna be tough. They actually can play out of it really easily. They're gonna go make this into a Link Cross. You're gonna use 2 tokens right here. From here, you can have the choice to Nibiru them here, but most of the time they always want to go into a Meadow Marcher first. There are sometimes they may Rush Herald, but that's if you bluff it really well. From here, you want to Nib here. You definitely want to Nibiru here, because Some variants now, if they're not playing Smoke Grenade, they opt to just make Herald off with the metal and the level 1 token, and then like you get really punished. But at the same time, there's also a lot of other variants that are just saying that like that are just kind of like saying screw it, where they actually just make Fiber here and try to Smoke Grenade. If they go the Fiber route from Link Cross and Metal, they hard lose to Nibiru, and then for them to play out of it, it's really, really tough. However, if they're playing the Red Rose engine, which this is Cody's list right here that I'm playing, they're gonna make Herald right here, and then that kind of like messes up a lot of stuff, because if they were to make Herald right here and now, it's really hard to hand trap them, because they just make a Herald so it negates your Nibiru, and then they can make Fiber and try to full combo from that position, which is like really, really important. But it's important to keep in mind that if they really like go Fiber, for them to play out of like, I guess, a really bad position, let me find it. They have to be able to essentially, they have to have an extra extender, because right now they don't have enough for the Guard Dragon zones. So that's something to keep in mind for sure. But I hope you guys got a little bit of understanding of how like the Dragon Link deck works and where to like pinpoint your hand traps at them. I think the reason why I want to like talk about this is because the only reason why I know how to hand trap my opponent's deck, such as Dragon Link, is because I learned how to play their deck. And that's what I try to recommend to every player entering the competitive Yu-Gi-Oh scene, is understand how to play like at least the best, or like the most two competent, like the most two relevant combo decks. Because if you can play 15 hand traps, but if you don't know how to hand trap your opponent properly, they're just gonna play through it. And I think that's why it's really, really important to learn how to play your opponent's deck. And it's this idea of like knowing yourself, but also knowing your opponent's deck really well, to the point where you're not going to lose to them if you draw the optimal hand traps. If you enjoyed this and want to see other, hand trap guides for other decks such as Dinos or Infernobles, then let me know in the comment section below. And please don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. So support has been immense. And in the month of September, we've been absolutely crushing it. So let's continue that for October. I'm really, really excited for you guys. There's going to be a bunch of new awesome videos coming out pretty soon. So stay tuned for that. Without further ado, guys, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.